Okay. Hello, my dear students. A very good morning to you all. I'm your very own Rahul Sir. And today, in this video lecture, I am going to have a discussion of your chapter Smells English Literature question answer for Standard 4. Now, without any further delay, my dear students, let's start. Before starting the discussion of this chapter, I would like to take a quick recap of what we studied the last class, means in the last part of this poem. I explained you about the meaning, all the stanzas of this poem. I'm not going to discuss that because it's already has been discussed in the previous part. This part, I'll have a quick recap about the introduction of the poet, about the poem, and then we will move into our today's topic question answers discussion. So in the introduction of the poet, we discussed that the poet of this poem was an American poet and novelist. I told you that the meaning of novelist is a person who writes novels, and along with writing novels, she is basically fond of writing poems. Then I told you that she was a poet who had a deep love towards nature. Means she was a type of poet who used to love nature a lot. Means for her, the nature's love was greater than anything else. Means we can also say that she was a nature lover. I told you this earlier. In this particular poem also, she has showed her feelings for the nature. Means in the whole poem that we all understood, we saw that in the whole poem of three stanzas, she has shown different elements of the nature very beautifully. Means the way she has described various elements, may it be flowers, may it be meadows, may it be weather, may it be season, or anything else, she has described in a very beautiful way. That is why we can say that she is a justified nature lover who loves nature a lot. Lastly, it's written, nature means beautiful flowers, trees, and many such things. Means for us like common people or for anybody else, nature simply means beautiful flowers, beautiful trees, and many such things that is mainly gifted us to by God. Means the Almighty has gifted us free of cost without charging an extra penny. Now, this was the introduction of the poet that we discussed in the last class. Now, coming to the recapitulation of the poem, means about the poem, we studied that in this poem, the poet expresses her longing for bright colors which are cheerful and the wonderful fragrances of different plants mentioned in the poem. Now, once again, I'll try to recapitulate each and every line one by one. In this poem, the poet expresses her longings. Means in this particular poem, the poet is trying to describe her longing. Means what to say? We can say deep kind of love. Longing means we can say deep kind of love towards the bright colors. Colors of what? Simply the bright colors of the flowers, which are cheerful. Cheerful means which blossom happily, and the wonderful fragrances of different plants. Now here The meaning of fragrances is the wonderful smell of different plants mentioned in the poem. Now I showed you the pictures properly of all the different plants mentioned in this poem. If you remember, I showed you with all the pictures of the different flowers mentioned in this poem. Now the poet is longing, is wishing, is in deep love for those fragrances of different flowers that she has mentioned in this poem. Now, in this poem, the speaker misses the beauty of spring during the harshness of the long, cold, snowy winters. Now, again, I told you that in this poem, the only thing that the poet misses is, is the beautifulness of spring season during the harshness of the cold weather, means the winter season. We all know how harsh is the winter season for us, means for a common people like who lives in India, a climate that we suffer from staying in Bihar kind of state is very harsh kind of climate. And in this type of climate, the poet simply misses the beautifulness, the beautiful sceneries of the spring season, where plants blossom beautifully and it looks colorful everywhere. Now, most of us love nature, and maybe no one in the world is such who don't love nature. It's a very simple line that I try to tell you, that most of us, like we human beings, has also got a deep love towards the nature, and we love it a lot. Means we have a deep love towards the nature and all its elements present in it, because we all know that how beautifully, means how beautifully we can draw a kind of scenery, but the way God draws the scenery of its surroundings during the spring season is very much vast and very differentiated from whatever we do. It's very simple. Now, in fact, we can say that nature is our best friend, as nature has given many wonderful things, as it is loaded with many things such as colorful flowers, trees, rivers, falls, mountains, that prove to be helpful for us and can benefit us. It's a very simple line, my dear students, that God has provided this nature with all of the elements that we specially need in order to survive in this beautiful planet. We all know that Earth is the only planet that where life is simply possible for all the living beings. Why? Because it is the only planet where God has given all its gift for the survival of the human beings or animals or any creature that is living. It's very simple, and we take benefits of those elements gifted to us by the God for our benefit, for our survival. Now, nature is also very friendly with us. Lastly, we can say that our existence depends on nature. Now, it's very simple line. Now, it was a recap what we did the previous class. I tried to skip the explanation of the actual poem, means all the stanzas, only because we discussed in the last class, in the last video rather. Now, we will try to understand the summary of the poem. Now, this is new for us, guys. I have written, like in this poem, the speaker expresses his or her longings for bright, cheerful colors and the wonderful fragrances of the purple lilacs, the yellow forsythia, and the pink peach blossoms, and the tender green grass. My dear students, the summary of the poem says that in the whole poem, whatever you study only and only about the speaker's longing, speaker's deep desire for the beautiful and different elements of this of the surroundings of the earth. And I have also mentioned the names of some flowers that was mentioned in the poem actually, and I already showed you the pictures of those flowers. The first flower that I have mentioned is purple lilacs. Next is yellow forsythia. Next is pink peach blossoms. And finally, tender green grasses. My dear students, in the whole poem, in different stanzas, we can see the names of these plants and their appearances that has been beautifully described by the poet. The poet tries to describe each and every element, or we can say the different flowers mentioned in the poem. Now, without the exact description of these flowers, it would not be possible to justify that the poet has a beautiful, or we can say a deep longing for the love of the nature. Means, as she has described all the beautiful elements of the surroundings of the earth in this poem, or through this poem, we can say, we got a reason to understand, we got a reason to justify that how much the poet loves the nature. Now, the speaker misses the beauty of spring during the harshness of the long, cold, and snowy winter. This line we already discussed, that in the whole poem, the speaker misses only one thing, and that is her or his longing or desire for the spring to arrive as soon as possible and to pass the harshness of the winter season as soon as possible. Now, as we discussed the summary of the poem, we will discuss exercise A, where we are instructed to complete the sentences from the poem. Like there are 4 questions. Exercise A, the first question says the speaker longs for. And for completing this sentence, we will say that the speaker longs for the smells of flowers during the summertime. The speaker here longs for the different smells of the flowers that come during the summertime. Why only summertime? Because it is the only period, my dear students, where we can smell the beautiful fragrances of the beautiful flowers blossoming, means I can say blooming during the spring season after suffering the harshness of the cold winter or cold weather. Now, coming to the next question, the smell is of the yellow forsythia that grows in the meadows. Now here, the smell is of the yellow forsythia. Yellow forsythia, I told you, it's a kind of flower which is yellowish in color, and it grows basically in the meadows, and the speaker smells the yellow forsythia through all the meadows that basically is spread because of the wind that passed through the meadow. Now finally, coming to the third question, the peach trees are tall and have beautiful flowers. The peach trees are tall and have beautiful flowers. It's a very simple line that the peach trees are the only trees that we can see in the whole poem as very tall and has got beautiful flowers on it. Now A4. The great green smell is that of the tall green leaves growing in the meadows. This was the last question of exercise A. The great green smell is that of the tall green leaves growing in the meadows. Meadows is a kind of area, a very large kind of area which is full of tall green grasses. Means the adjectives that I have used is tall as well as green, and they grow all through the meadows. Now, okay, now I said we will discuss the final exercise of smells, which is think and answer. And the question for this particular exercise is, why do you think that the speaker says that smells have colors? For the answer to this question that I have mentioned here is, smells having colors is basically a blending imagination of the poet. Means, dear students, I wanted to say that here the poet is using her imagination regarding the visualization of the spring, of the spring season rather. And in this poem, the poet has tried to describe, means she has tried to blend her imagination of two different senses. That's what I have written. Let me repeat once again. Smells having colors is basically a blending imagination of the poet, where she blends her imagination of two senses. We all know, my dear students, that we have five different senses that we have studied in science. And out of those five senses, the poet here is using, means not only using two different senses, but she also is blending, means mixing both the senses for describing each of the elements in this poem. Here, one is of smelling the beautiful fragrances of the different flowers mentioned in the poem and enjoys the vibrant color of the same and sing this imagination only. She says that smells have colors. Means we all know that we visualize something with the help of the sense known as sight, and we smell something with our nose. We all know this. This is very common. This is simple. But here, my dear students, the poet is using both these two different senses, means sense of smell and also sense of sight, for visualizing the different elements of the nature. Means here she is describing the different elements in such a way that she is saying that she can smell the fragrance with the eyes and she can see the beautiful colors of those flowers with the help of her nose. And that is why she means to say that smells have colors. Means, let me narrate you once again that here Smells having colors is a kind of imagination, because it's not possible for smells to have colors. But here, if the poet is saying that smells have colors, she simply means to tell us or say us that she, by blending her imaginations of two different senses, she is actually smelling the beautiful fragrance of the beautiful flowers mentioned in the poem with the sense of her sight, and she is visualizing the colors of those beautiful flowers with the help of her sense of smelling. I hope all the explanations that I did with you, all the discussions that I did with you of the question answers, of the exercises of this poem Smells, is clear to you, my dear students. At last, I would like to wrap up this particular chapter by giving you a last brief summary of this poem, in which I'll tell you nothing but the same thing that I kept on saying from the beginning of this poem. Like, in this poem, the poet is using her nature's love in order to show or describe the beautiful elements or the different elements of the nature. She is a nature lover, and with that love, means out of that love only, she is simply describing all the gifts of the nature given to us by the Almighty. And she is also saying that without those proper gifts, we would not be able to survive on this planet, because we all know that this is the only planet that has got the capacity or capability of making life possible. May it be plant life, may it be animal life, or life of us, means human beings. All the gifts that nature has gifted to us, it has only been possible because of the gifts of the nature that we are able to survive. We also have seen the mentioning of different types of flowers which are of different colors. I tried to show you all those flowers through pictures in the previous video. Along with this, she is also trying to describe her way of loving the nature. And apart from this, in all these questions that are mentioned in the exercise, she again has told us or described us the same thing, and it's only about her love towards the nature and nothing else. So, this was the complete ending of the explanation of this poem Smells. Hope to see you in the next video, my dear students. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.